In every corner of the Earth lies a power capable of changing the landscape, destinies, and even history itself in an instant. A power that cannot be tamed, a power born in the sky that comes to the ground with noise, roars, and destruction. These are tornadoes, twisters, and hurricanes, the very breath. In the distance, beyond the line of hills, a funnel begins to form. At first, it is just a dark spot, slowly descending from the base of the cloud. But in a matter of minutes, it stretches into a narrow gray cone, connecting sky and earth. The air becomes thick, sounds become muffled. Animals hide, birds disappear from view. The human heart beats faster. Instinct suggests danger is near. The tornado approaches. Its roar is like the sound of dozens of locomotives going at full speed. Dust, debris, scraps of grass and branches swirl into a dense wall. Everything in its path becomes part of this chaotic dance. Cars are lifted into the air as if they were toys. Houses lose their roofs in a matter of seconds. Power line poles break like matchsticks. Oklahoma City has experienced this more than once. In 2013, one of the most powerful tornadoes, an EF5, passed through the city of Moore, leaving a trail several kilometers wide. The wind speed then exceeded 320 kilometers per hour. To understand, that is almost 3 times faster than a hurricane-force wind on the coast. While tornadoes rage in the interior of the continent, hurricanes gather their strength on the coasts. In Florida, Louisiana, and along the Texas coast, the storm season lasts from June to November. They are born in the warm waters of the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico, where the sun heats the ocean to a temperature capable of fueling a gigantic atmospheric machine. Water vapor rises, forming thunderclouds. The warmer the water, the more energy the storm receives. When a hurricane reaches land, its power is already measured in millions of tons of water and wind moving at a destructive speed. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans. The storm surge flooded the city, destroying the levees. Tens of thousands of people were left homeless. The streets, which just yesterday were filled with the music of jazz, turned into a watery desert. But in the center of any cyclone, be it a tornado or a hurricane, there is a deceptive place of calm, the eye of the storm. Here, for a moment, the wind subsides, and the sky may even clear. But experienced storm chasers know this is just a respite. Soon, the wall of clouds will return with the same force, and often even stronger. In the state of Kansas, farmers tell stories of how, in the middle of the day, the sky would suddenly turn green. This strange color often precedes severe thunderstorms and hail. Scientists suggest that the green tint is caused by the refraction of sunlight through thick layers of moisture and ice in the clouds. And although this phenomenon does not always mean a tornado, for the locals, it remains a sign of alarm. Twisters come in different forms: classic cones, elegant ropes, massive multi-vortex monsters that span kilometers in width. There are also ghost tornadoes, almost invisible without dust and debris. They can only be distinguished by the swirling air and the strange silence before them. Such vortices are especially dangerous because they can be spotted too late. Sometimes, in the vast plains of Texas, one can see so-called sister tornadoes, when 2 or 3 vortices rotate side by side, intertwining in a terrifying dance. Each has its own funnel, but together they look like a single living creature moving across the land. Recent scientific research allows for better prediction of tornado formation. Meteorologists use Doppler radars, detecting rotation in the clouds even before a funnel forms. But even with modern technology, people have only a few minutes to evacuate, sometimes only 2 or 3. When the storm passes, silence falls. But this is not the peaceful silence that man is accustomed to. It is a silence filled with the smell of wet earth, burnt wood, and dust. People emerge from their shelters and see a world that has changed. Trees lie like broken toys. Houses stand without walls. Cars are overturned. And in the distance, on the horizon, the clouds still trail their dark plumes. Recovery from such disasters takes months and sometimes years, but nature has no memory in the human sense. For it, a storm is just part of an eternal cycle. For us, it is a reminder of how fragile our civilization can be. And yet, despite the destruction, people continue to live in these places because this is their home, their land, their history. They know that the next storm will come, but they also know that they will be able to survive it, as generations before them did. And somewhere out there, in the distant skies, new vortices are already beginning their journey. We do not see them yet. We do not hear them yet, but they are coming. And one day, on a hot summer day, when the air becomes heavy and the horizon darkens, we will remember again, nature is always stronger.